Morning, everybody. Everybody okay? Always seems a bit early. Makes me nervous not having my headphones on. Oh, yeah, I can hear myself. Okay. I hope you're all really well. It's always good to see you. So keen. Andy, you've done an hour in the gym, have you? That's showing off. Bruno, what time is it in Sao Paulo, mate? Very early morning? I don't know. Excellent. So, bits and pieces today. There's a request from Joe and a lovely external contribution from Duncan the Sax Mad dentist and some snaky musings and thoughts and a sort of weird drill that I'll end with. I'll leave it till last, so if you're going, what is he on about now, you can sign off. So just last night I played a little snippet of the Pink Panther, and Joe asked, that's Joe Preston, not my Joe, asked if we could have a bit of a masterclass on what she called the frilly bits in the Pink Panther. And initially I thought Pink Panther, it's just a little tune, everybody knows it. But then actually I thought that's a good idea because it's Plaz Johnson, it is a bit of a masterclass, and there's so many techniques in that little short bit of tune. All of them that we've covered weeks and weeks and weeks ago. We were still in single figures. We're number 20 today. We had a whole morning on, or maybe 2 weeks on the tips and tricks, the little effects. And we covered all this stuff then. But this would be interesting to put it into context with something that we all know. Analyze it. Tear it inside out, upside down, back to front. So alongside, obviously, the man has a great fundamental tone and a nice sense of swing, but then it has glissandos, it has jaw bends, both up and down, bit of a growl, and a great use of dynamics and juxtaposition of long and short notes. So do-wap, do-wap. I'm really I listened through again last night, and that use of dynamics is so powerful. It makes such a difference. I mean, if we played a bit of the tune without any of that stuff in. Sounds awful, doesn't it? It sounds nothing like a Pink Panther. Oh, 7 in the morning. That's painful. Good man. Sounds nothing like a Pink Panther creeping through the grass, doesn't it? Sounds more like a clod-hopping elephant. So let's take it phrase by phrase. So much in there. So just take the first two notes. So it's not, it's doo-wop. So we're going long, short, and we're going loud, quiet. Doo-wop. And I write that, I write the do in capital letters underlined, and then I write the wap in small, lowercase, in brackets. It's ghosted, so it's doo-wop. Do-wop. So there's loads of them. Do-wop, 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 do. And then On the C natural on tenor, it would be a G on alto. Big jaw bend, bit of a forte piano. In other words, hit it hard, come down, and then crescendo, and then a beautiful glissando. Then the in-between notes are soft-tongued, and then a beautiful glissando down or a fall-off to end. So about that last phrase. In slow motion. So that's the ingredients there. You okay so far? Morning, Ron. Then the next 4-bar phrase, very, very similar, except the ends on a high note. The F natural on the tenor, the C natural on the alto. And that note's amazing. It's got crescendo and a diminuendo. And then it ends not with a glissando, unless my ears deceive me. It's a beautiful, subtle jaw bend down. So cool. It's quite hard to achieve because you're fading with the volume and your jaw bending down, and that couldn't go horribly wrong. And I don't think I can get as far as he does, but beautiful effect. And the third phrase, the third 4 bars is the same as the first one. And then the very end, the last 4 bars, 4th phrase, a cheeky growl, and then that lovely series of 4 single notes with the jaw bends down each time. And then a jaw bend on the last 2 notes. I kind of rushed through that one a bit. I'll slow it down. And I think that another thing that adds to the coolness of the whole thing is that there's no vibrato on anything except that very last note. There's just a hint. That kind of adds to the tiptoeing delicacy. So I hope that helps. And then, so Duncan texted me this morning with an exercise that he tells me he does regularly, and he wondered if I'd heard of it, and maybe years ago, I don't know, the mists of time, but certainly something I hadn't thought about for quite a while. And it's a bit of a formula, so it's a great tip for improvisation and a way to practice your scales much more imaginatively, and ties in with all the stuff that we were talking about learning the chords and playing through the chords, arpeggio style, to get them into your subconscious. And so it would go like this. If we take C major, because it's easy to talk about and it falls under our fingers, then we go up a 4-note arpeggio. So 1, 3, 5, 7. No, 7, be the major 7th. 1, 3, 5, 7. So we're in a major key, we're in C major. We're going up the 4-note arpeggio and then running down the scale from there A, G, F, E, which takes us to the D. So, as Duncan puts it, we're going up the stairs two at a time and then running down quickly. And of course that will work over any scale, any key. And it's doing so many good things because, as he pointed out, you put in the arpeggio notes on your strong beats. Do, 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 do. And as he says, maybe the best bit is that if you look at transcriptions of, or you just listen to, that's you, Ron, you're just listening to great solos, especially on wind instruments. That's the way that seems to go. It's on the way up, it's kind of arpeggio-ish, and on the way down, it's scale-ish. You know, obviously, that's a massive generalization. That's not exclusive. And then Duncan was on a roll. He said, but then if you think about it, if you do little passing notes, chromatic notes, that's just like you're sidestepping to one side or the other, then coming back onto the steps, which is a great visual way of thinking about the way that we play. I like that a lot. So, as you know by now, and I'm sure you feel the same, I always love things that maximize our time, the value of our time, and also that make us focus. It's too easy, we all do it, to be able to go up and down your scales without really thinking, without focusing in, without really being in the moment. But if you do them this way, you've got to think about it. So I like that. Thank you very much, Duncan. So number 20. I'll keep threatening, but I will. I'll back off a bit after this week. Nothing for a couple of weeks, and I'll come back on August the 16th and do something, like a little review, bit more chat. And meanwhile, I may start taking them down off YouTube and revisiting them, smartening them up, repackaging them, and making them clearer and more informative, and then I'll hit you back with them. In the meantime, if I don't want to pull the carpet from under you, if you're working on particular ones, just send me an email and I'll send you the link. I mean, they'll still be there. I'll just make them private. With the long-term goal of perhaps actually getting myself organized and doing a bit of the Snaky Sax Academy or something. And now I know that you're here with me because you want to improve, and my mission has always been to help you in every way I can. And one of the things that I don't want is for you to have glass ceilings or glass floors and feeling that you can't expand and do anything that you want to do. We've all had those feelings of inadequacy. I'll never be able to do X or Y. I'll never be as good as A or B. So, got to get rid of all that. And it's not just sax playing, is it? There are too many aspects of life that can get overly complex too quickly. Things are simple at the start. You know, all of us, we developed the ambition to learn sax, probably because we heard somebody do it well and thought, I want to do that. And that's simple. And then stuff can get in the way, can't it? Mental, physical obstacles. Some of them are real and some of them are kind of self-imposed, but they all need to be overcome and dismissed. You know, get back on the straight and narrow and become awesome. That's it doesn't need to be complicated. I know what I wanted to show you. Where is it? Okay. I've put everything in the way of everything else. I just need to slide this over here, and then I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, we need to look at this again. Thank you, Katie. I don't want to practice. I just want to skip ahead to the bit where I'm awesome. It's so true, isn't it? But I do want to talk a bit about practice today. Now, because what do we need most in our lives to get better at music, to have more fun and more success, and maybe even make some money? Do we need luck? Do we need natural talent? Is it about our clothes or our haircut? Is it about being in the right place at the right time? Yeah, Charlotte, one day at a time, get better bit by bit. What? Yeah. You don't need this workshop then. You said it all. And we all know it's nothing to do with talent or gifts. We've all got that. What makes us better is practicing. So I want to help you love your practice more if I can. I hope that I've been able to do that to some extent. I just want to talk about it a little bit more. I nearly always enjoy my practice. I look forward to it, and I always wish I had time to do more. And I'm lucky I've got a spacious, airy, soundproof studio down the bottom of my garden, a great location. But, except in these unusual circumstances, I'm forced by circumstances to do probably 50% of my practice in cars or vans, in dressing rooms, in storerooms, in boiler rooms, in forests, the corner of a backstage area, a stairwell, or playing softly into the wardrobe in a hotel room. But I still look forward to it, and I look forward to that first note of the day. Like you'd look forward to a perfect cup of tea or a dive into the Caribbean Sea. And so I don't want any of us to think of it as a chore or an irritation or something unpleasant, because we enjoy playing live, playing with other people, and we enjoy our lessons, hopefully. But sometimes the bits in between the practice that can get put off, and got to dismiss any notion of it being tedious, or think of it as golden time, special time. And so we need to allow ourselves to be creative and have fun in practice sessions. We, to some extent, some of us more than others, we have things mapped out what we want to do: tone exercises, scales and studies, pieces, improvisation. But, sometimes I'll come in and just from the first couple of long notes I play, a melody will come into my head, or I'll just start noodling and playing, or maybe put a track on straight away that I've been thinking about, a solo that I want to learn. That's fine, Allow ourselves to have fun. And as Charlotte said, little by little, the concept of moderating our goals, especially when we're young. You're all younger than me. Your ambitions are so high, but that can become a mountain that can't be climbed, and we risk failing if we aim too high. We risk falling, crashing, burning, giving up, getting depressed. So small steps, small advances, we can enjoy them and celebrate them. Definitely. Cause for celebration. And then another thing that we've talked about, but it doesn't hurt to remind, don't just rush in and get started. Just allow that few minutes to stretch, breathe, and settle in that way. That time is so important. Sometimes for me it'll be 10 or 15 minutes, I'll go outside by the pond and do a whole series of different breathing drills and do my stretches out there. Sometimes it'll just be 2 minutes, shoulder roll, touching the toes or as near as I can get, stretch up, and a couple of feeling the breath filling from low. Just a minute and a half, 2 minutes, but it's still so valuable, and it affects the whole quality of the practice time that follows. You'll just automatically become more aware of your physical selves and the environment. And make that environment as conducive as possible. Make it a creative space. For me, it involves getting good acoustics if possible and uncluttered space if possible. Have that mirror that I keep banging on about that at least shows tummy to tip of your head and a means of recording yourself, which we all have on the flipping phones these days. And then all that helps to play, as we have also talked about, shouldn't be that gap, that brick wall between playing and performing, practicing and performing. It's all making music, so make music with an open heart and with passion and joy. The practice time is a precious gift. And I'm by no means perfect. I don't achieve this every day. I'm far from it. The quality of my practice varies, as I think it must do with all of us, and especially at the moment, lockdown times. The uncertainty and the anxiety that it can cause. It's easier to get distracted maybe at the moment than normal, if we can think back to what normal was. Is anything normal? So I'll find that I can be midway through doing a drill or an exercise, even a single note, and then I'll realize that I didn't really commit to it. I wasn't totally present, I drifted off to my to-do list or looking in the garden or something. So rewind, start again, roll the shoulders and start that drill again. Other things, start early in the day if you can, take breaks. Sometimes I'll walk while I practice. That can free things up a little bit. My very good friend Johnny Thurkel, who a lot of you know, he swears by an app called Modacity. Modacity, one word. It didn't quite work for me. I don't really know why, but I do really appreciate it. It's an app that you can use which will kind of track your progress. It does the recording bit for you, plays it back. It allows you to kind of fill in almost like questionnaires. How's this particular study going? It allows you to input the time that you'd choose to spend on each aspect of your practice. And it's definitely worth having a look at. Making notes, ticking things off, it's all good. And then maybe looking at it from another angle, it's also great not to beat ourselves up too much. I mean, us Brits, we're good at doing that. Don't be too harsh on yourselves. We're modest about our abilities, aren't we? But allow yourself a pat on the back every now and again. Well done me, you can say. It's not a bad thing to do that. Other days, it'll be, it didn't go so good, the brow is furrowed. But tomorrow's a new day, and compliment yourself sometimes. And still on the practice subject. That's great, Andy. I'm so pleased. I love hearing things like that. You played to sheep in the hills of home Firth. But you live down south. You must have used to live up here. We talked about creating practice time, extra bonus practice time in situations where we perhaps wouldn't have thought of practicing, like doing all that mental stuff with the intervals, which we can do to help us get to sleep, or if we're having sleepless times, or sitting in an airport lounge. Happy birthday to 55651, all that stuff. Interval games. And singing. I'm constantly banging on about singing. It's magical. It helps our practice so much. And multiple benefits. Immediately gets you thinking about your breathing. Obviously, it makes you a better singer and creates another opportunity to experiment with intervals. No, semitone up, semitone down, back to where you were. Could be while you're driving, or at the moment for me, I'm not driving, so it's in those little bits of time, like as soon as I walk in through the studio door, while I'm unpacking a sax and wetting a reed, setting a camera up, I'm singing. And I might be singing that exercise that Duncan told us about. That would be a good one to sing. In fact, he was saying that singing it and saying it are both good examples. 1, 3, 5, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc. Yeah. Retire. That's a good idea, Glenn. Fantastic. Thank you, Joe, David. Thank you very much. Yeah, retiring is a brilliant idea. Don't bother with all those day jobs. Just play your sax. So those are my opportunities to sing, and much to Sally's annoyance, sometimes I sing around the house. And sometimes I'm just singing random stupid things, she will tell you. But other times I'm doing the thing that we all did together, singing scales like this. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, etc. 1 minor 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1 flat 5. All that stuff is great. And then on the singing subject, I was thinking about what we'd talk about today, and I thought about the singing, and then I remembered a bit of a crazy, obscure exercise that I'll do just every now and again. It's certainly nothing that I'd want you to or encourage you to put into your daily practice. It's a bit of a weird drill, not in an advanced way. It's relevant to whether you've been playing a week or a lifetime, but it is a bit obscure. But I thought it's worth sharing with you. So this is the way it goes. You can either do it along with me or store this up for later or make some notes. Les wouldn't have time to work now. Yeah, flipping it. Jackie's saying singing the tune or exercise first has certainly helped. Great. Love to hear those things. So, this is how it goes. Today's crazy thing to try. It's about singing and playing and comparing and thinking about where notes are originating from in the body. So pick a note which is singable and not at the extreme ends of your instrument. So I was thinking a middle C on the tenor, or your lowest G on an alto. Concert B flat, in other words. So get that note, unless you've got perfect pitch, get it off your sax. Do, and then sing it out sort of loud, well, not super loud, but confident and full. Do, sing it as a do. Do. So far, so good. And then play it. So sing it and then play it. Change the pitch if necessary to find one that fits well, which is comfortable to sing in your range. And then, so sing it, play it, sing it again, and ask yourself, where in the body is it originating? Do. Is it coming from low? Is it coming from your head? Is it head voice? And for me, the mid-range notes seem to come from low chest, so just below the breastbone, when you can start to feel flesh instead of ribs. Do, do, seems to come from about there. So, but ask yourself that, and then, especially if you're not sure, you'll soon be able to find out, because sing it from your front of your face, from your nose area, and it'll sound nasal and thin. Do, do, do. I'm singing it from there now. Do, do. Or do the opposite. Sing it really low down, from really low down. Do, do. And suddenly all the higher harmonics disappear and it fattens and widens out. So even that's interesting. Could do it. Do that same vocal thing, but with two hands on your body, one lightly holding your nose and one low down on your abdomen, and move the note about vocally. Do, 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 and feel the different vibrations, how they correspond to the change in tone. And then do all the same on the sax. So you're still playing that same note, but you're moving the origin around. It's much more weird concept on the sax, and the tone is not going to change as much. You might not even notice any change in tone. I think you will notice a little bit. So I'm going to point to where it's coming from. Now I'm going to go straight from the low one to the very high one. And then I start to hear still very slight change in tone. When you're doing the sax, you've got one hand free. Yeah, for both those notes, you've got one hand free. Oh, there's a mummy blackbird feeding its little one, except the little one, they're not that little, are they? Different colour. He's going like this. Oh, happy days. Yeah, you've got one spare hand, so you can play the note, move its origin around and feel those vibrations. And you can extend that drill if you want to by, certainly vocally, it's interesting to do it. Do, coming from there. Do, coming from there. And then move the origin right around your head, forehead, to the back of your head, down your back, and then back around to the tummy, and then it's like you're doing a whole journey, a big oval. So do, do. First of all, I'm coming up to the high chest, then the throat. Do, 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 do. And finally it ends its journey back there. I don't know. You may be asking yourselves, asking me, what's the flipping point of all this? Well, at the very least, it's putting us more directly and intimately in touch with our lovely bodies and the way that the air is used, how the air support and focus changes, how we feel differences in pressure and expansion and volume and, of course, tone. So it has to help us be more sensitive and nuanced in our approach to how we use the air. But actually it does more than that, and it can assist us tremendously, this whole sensation of where the note is born, where its birthplace is, when we're attempting the extremes of register. Bottom B flat. That's definitely a note which is born low down. So it's fat and wide, and if I attempt to do that with a nasal front of head voice, I can't. And if we take the other extreme, if I go for a high D altissimo, then that's definitely born much higher. And if I attempt that note with a low birth, low down in my abdomen, I can't. I just can't do it. And just to feel that and be aware of it is so useful. I know it's obscure. Maybe. Give it a try. Thank you very much, Joe, for your question on the that prompted the Plas Johnson masterclass or analysis. Wonderful. And the solo is well worth a look at in Pink Panther. It's really imaginative and full of great licks. It's a good one to learn. And thank you, Duncan, for the I'll be doing that later on. And thank you, Joe and Sally, for all your hard work behind the scenes. And thank you a lot for listening along. And thanks for your donations. Absolutely brilliant. So, as I said, feel free to hit me with questions and requests for when we do get back together in 1, 2, 3 weeks' time. And for links to anything that disappears. And just stay in touch. I'm teaching one-on-one again with real life students in the room. And teaching by Zoom seems to go okay too. It seems pretty fine. So stay in touch. Hit me anytime you like. And soon we'll all be awesome. Oh, might see you tonight, 7 o'clock, for some mellow, relaxing, chilled out sounds. I've enjoyed your company as always.